a change of heart and everything just falls apart. All you got gets tangled up in you when it's too much for you to hold, and everything unfolds around you. Anything you try is never true. When you're falling, you can't find your feet. I promise I will keep a place for you to land. When you're falling, grabbing for the sky, you should know that I will catch you when you fall. I'll catch you when you fall. When belief is all you're following, those days when you step in and you are someone else, when your dreams are brighter than the climb, life's full but you can't find the pieces of yourself. When you're falling, you can't find your feet. I promise I will keep a place for you to land. When you're falling, grabbing for the sky, you should know that I will catch you when you fall. I'll catch you when you fall. Falling, you can't find your feet. You need someone to keep a place for you to land. When you're falling, grabbing for the sky, you can close your eyes. I'll catch you when you fall. When you're falling and you can't find your feet, promise I will keep a place for you to land. When you're falling, grabbing for the sky, you should know that I will catch you when you fall. I'll catch you when you fall. I'll catch you when you fall. Catch you when you fall. Catch you when you fall.
And that is Rosanne Baker Thornley, and you're listening to A Drink of Water here on CHHA 1610 AM. And my goodness, what an incredible song to start off with. Catch Me When I Fall. My goodness, my intro didn't even play this evening. I guess that's because, with the music that we're going to be playing this evening, just couldn't wait to play Rosanne Baker Thornley's wonderful music. She is the winner of the Indie International Songwriting Competition and the 2016 UK Songwriting Contest. She is a songwriter of note, and she's going to be talking about not just her songwriting and her collaborations and her upcoming CD and a great show that she's going to be putting on at a place that she has there, the Dairy, but also going to be talking about basically helping artists out, and treating artists with dignity, because in this day and age, that's not really happening too darn much. Welcome, Rosanne Baker Thornley, to A Drink of Water. Wonderful to have you on.
Thank you. Pleased to be here.
Great. Come on right up to the mic there. It's one of those, yeah, that's fabulous. Oh my gosh. So it's wonderful to have you in studio. And we met last week at the SOCAN event.
That's right.
Yeah. And we hit it off right away because we're like-minded when it comes to artists.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And treating them with dignity is the way you put it. So let's talk a little bit about that, because that will set us up for what you do and the kind of, what you do with the artists.
Okay, well, I think
for the artists.
That phrase actually came out of a statement that really resonated with me with an organization, a portal, basically called Artery.
Artery, yes.
Artery, who I'm hosting the show through. They're like a portal for purchasing tickets and getting to different arts and culture events in the city.
Right. And when you, Artery, of course, that's exactly what it is. It's an artery. It's a way to get to places. And are they rather unusual places or regular venues, or what kind of places are the musicians?
They're unusual places. They started out in Toronto. Artery started in Toronto and New York as their pilot cities.
Right.
And with a plan to be basically like Airbnb. Basically, they
cool.
say that anywhere you could host a show anywhere. So it's not just the large venues. There's a guy that has a boat out on the lake, a pirate ship.
Oh, wow.
And he hosts shows on his boat in the evening, and you go out, and I haven't been, but
is that here in Toronto or New
York? It's in Toronto.
Yeah.
And you would go out on the boat, and he has a couple of classical guitar players playing guitar, and you just float around the city and listen to some music. So things like that on docks, people's houses. I went to one that was
house
on a
parties,
rooftop.
home concert, house concerts,
massive.
big.
Yeah, and I support them fully because I think they're a great way for artists to get out there with their music.
Now they're not just getting out there with their music.
It's dance as well. It's everything.
Dance. Oh, all artists.
It's dance. It's performing arts. It's all different arts. It's not just music.
Wonderful. Because the one thing that artists have real difficulty getting is paid.
They do.
So how does Artery help with that?
Well, Artery, because it's house concerts, when you're paying to go to a house concert, so let's say it's $20, $25, $30.
Right.
That it's usually a host. There's a host of their home, and they're hosting shows in their living room, or their backyard, or
the
rooftop,
pirate ship,
whatever,
or whatever it is. Yeah.
But it's a direct channel for artists making some money, which is great. Unlike, open mics, interesting. It is interesting. It's a great way, I guess, for people to get out there and play some music, but it is also great for artists to make some money doing what they do. And that came out of that conversation with Salima about...
Now, Salima is the
founder
of Artery. Right.
And that came out of that conversation with her talking about artists doing their craft with a sense of dignity. And it really resonated with me because, that's great. And it's great to get paid for what you do.
Well, a lot of people don't realize when they go to, let's say, a bar, restaurant, venue like that, that when that beer pitcher is being sent around, they think maybe that's a tip jar.
Yeah.
But actually, that's how the artist gets paid. And if, how demeaning can that be? I mean, some people say, well, that's the way it is. That's what they do it in Nashville, they do it in New York, blah, 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 and you think, oh, well, that's okay. It's not okay. It's just not.
No.
Absolutely not okay. So you have a place called The Dairy?
I do.
You do? Is it a real dairy?
Well, it used to be. In 1926, it was the Scarborough Dairy.
Oh, neat.
And it's actually down a lane behind some houses. And my husband and I kind of happened into this property. And we had a sort of a vision for what we wanted to do. We wanted to build something.
Right.
I was looking for a big square building.
Well, you're the little girl who lives down the lane.
Yeah, I am now the little girl who lives down the lane. And we came across this property that was a dairy.
Yes.
So it is a house that was the dairy. That was the administrative office. And it's attached to a warehouse.
Right.
There's a warehouse. So the warehouse is 3,500 square feet.
Holy mackerel, that's
and we're in
nice
the house,
size.
and we thought, well, we've got this space. I'm actually building a recording studio because of all I need a recording studio. I have a writing room in there. I have a couple offices in there. But in the meantime, while the studio is not built, we are hosting some shows.
Cool.
And that was driven out of this necessity I felt with some of the young artists I'm working with. I'm working with more established artists, and I'm working with emerging artists.
Excellent.
So it's like anything. It's a path you're on, and these experienced artists have a lot of experience on the road. They've got a lot of experience writing, performing, honing their craft.
A lot of wisdom.
A lot of wisdom.
Yeah.
And it was funny because I was having a conversation with my husband Michael one day, and he was saying, I'd like to host some shows that can highlight some of this young talent that's coming through, because it's great. There's great talent.
There is. There's so much.
We thought about the idea of pairing the more seasoned with the younger artist and sharing that experience with people. And so that's what we're doing.
And it's working.
It is. Well, this is really the first show at the Dairy taking a established artist and an emerging artist and putting them together.
And we're going to be hearing their music.
You are.
And not just that, you co-wrote this music with your writing partner, Northeastern.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
So he's a wonderful artist out of Ottawa.
He is out of Ottawa.
A BC boy at heart, apparently.
He
know,
is.
and but he's an experienced at touring and performing, and
I'm sure he would say he's been doing it forever, which he has
Forever.
been doing a long time.
Absolutely.
Forever.
No, but that's important, because that's a hard road. It really is. It is not easy to be on the road, especially when you go out without any gigs set up. And a lot of people just get in there, they get in their car or their van or whatever, and they just go.
They do. I think he's got a plan to what he's doing, though. So he does head out west every summer and tours all the way out there and does shows all the way out, because he goes back to BC with his family every year, and then comes back.
But some people don't have a plan.
No, they
and
don't.
That's why they need someone like him to help them.
Yeah. The plan is the challenging part, I find, for artists.
Yeah.
Like, I'll be writing with people, and I will ask them, what's the plan? And it's really a big gray area, because music is so all over the map these days of where do I go, how do I do this, how do I do that. So I've been in the business quite a long time, and I really do like to sort of take artists that I'm inspired by and help them have their voice heard in the world a bit more. And North the same. He's very much an advocate for songwriting in Ottawa. He does a lot for people in songwriting.
Yeah, I'm from Ottawa originally. That's my hometown. This has kind of changed though since I was there when I was 14. I'm a little older now. So we're going to hear, when we come back, we're going to hear a song called Turn. Do you want to set that up? Because when we come back, we'll be, from break at 8:15, we'll be listening to that.
Well, Turn is an interesting song, actually. Turn is the first song that North and I wrote together.
Oh, great.
And it's now on his album. He put an album out probably about, I would say it's about 8 months ago now that he put this album out. So Turn was the first song we wrote, and when we first got together, it was through a songwriting challenge that we actually met, is how we met. We wrote this over Skype, actually, because he's in Ottawa and I'm here.
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah.
So great.
Yeah. So I had seen a photo exhibit, and this photo exhibit was about these fellows who were in jail. And what the photographer had done was taken photos of these convicts and also had them write letters to themselves. And the letters were, what would you tell yourself as a younger man, what you should avoid or what you would do differently that you wouldn't end up here. So this song was written on the basis of those letters, because I was very inspired by it. I do quite a bit of photography as well, and I was very inspired by these images. And North and I took that as sort of that inspiration and fuel, and wrote the song Turn.
Turn. Well, we're going to listen to that right after break. We're going out, and I have in studio Rosanne Baker Thornley, and an amazing songwriter, singer, and certainly inspirational for all artists. So we'll be back right after these messages.
You are listening to Radio Voces Latinas, 1610 AM. A drink of water.
17, the boy don't know about living smart and moving slow. 18 notches on a wall, I carved them all. Once a year I mark the day I should have turned and walked away. I had the hopes that young men do, not the strength to see them through. I followed blind across the line, took the folly in someone else's shoes. And if I could go back to me, I'd say, look before you follow, think before you choose. It's not what you gain, it's everything you lose. Don't forget your feet, you don't have to stay, you can always turn and walk away. Walk away. In the shadows of my youth, I didn't care about truth. I was desperate to belong, could've put it right, but I did it wrong. The hardest part, the empty dark, is the quiet pain and the fear I face. If only I could just go back and say, look before you follow, look before you choose. It's not what you gain, it's in everything you lose. Don't forget your feet, you don't have to stay, you can always turn. Look before you follow, think before you choose. It's not what you gain, it's in everything you lose. Don't forget your feet, you don't have to stay, you can always turn. You can always turn and walk away. Walk away. Walk away. Walk away. And walk away.
And that was Turn, and that was sung by Northeastern, and a co-write by Rosanne Baker Thornley and Northeastern. And it's 8:19 here at CHHA 1610 AM. If you're just tuning in, we're talking with Rosanne Baker Thornley about, music, the industry. And before we went to break, you were talking about Turn, and you mentioned photography that really, really inspired you. So, yeah, and the stories.
Well, it was interesting because the photographer was Trent Bell out of Boston, and it was interesting because I'd found this project online and how he had superimposed the letters behind these convicts, and it moved us enough that we wrote the song. So then I then sent it to Trent, and I said, my writing, we did this co-write, and I just wanted to share with you the reach that how it inspired us and the reach that your exhibit had.
Yeah.
And I said, so I'm sending you the song just to have a listen to see what you think. And the message I got back from him was, I listened to the song and all I could do was sit there and cry. Oh. So he then incorporated the song into, he was doing a tour of his show in the States and going to high schools and talking about just everything, and Turn has become part of his life. So it's very cool, I think, when stuff like that happens. It's how it changes lives.
Well, that's really that is what the artist does. You know, you take life and you turn it around. You turn it around, and you help people to look at it in another way, so they do see it. Perhaps something that people wouldn't have seen before. They understand it better with his exhibit, with your song, with the dance, with the acting. Whatever happens, that's the actors and the artists' job. Is to Well,
I think you see things differently. You just see it in a bit of a different light, and It's like I'm walking around town and someone will say just a common phrase, and I'm always writing. It's like you're a magnet. It's like you're just, or a live wire, actually. You're just a live wire walking around town going, oh.
Well, you see the poetry, you see the beauty, you see the pain, you see everything everything becomes, I think, magnified. You're a magnet, but it also becomes magnified. Because you're so aware. I think artists are usually pretty hypersensitive.
Well, they're empathetic.
Empathetic,
They're very empathetic.
Absolutely.
Like extremely empathetic.
Yeah.
Because I know when I'm writing with people, I have to very much occupy their space as well as my own. And it's very interesting how I can be sort of in one mood, but I can sit with somebody that's obviously in a different mood, and I just I slide into that mood.
Yeah.
And it's what I embody to write with them, whatever it is we are going to write that day.
And do you find that that music comes actually? It flows right down. How does the music come for you? I'm not going to.
Yeah, it's all different.
It's like
it's all different. Sometimes I'll sit there and it's. I really try to capture moods to the point where I will just shut my eyes and go with a feel. And sometimes it's a little more structured than that, but it's all different. It's all different ways.
Yeah.
It's all different.
Just depends.
And
of course, when you're co-writing as well, you have the other person. They're going through their own thing as well. So that must be quite an experience.
Well, it's interesting. Like, for instance, working with North is a good example of how we're both sort of in that same path at times, and that's not we've written probably over 100 songs together now.
Wow.
We work as a team with other people, like an artist in the room.
Yeah.
So some great artists we're working with, and it's different. It's different, and we'll sit, and North and I will also write our own songs together. So it all takes on a different, I'll say, different kind of energy depending on who you're working with and what you're doing.
Sure. And this show that you've got coming up at the Dairy this Thursday at 8:00. Now, where is it located?
It's at Danforth and Woodbine. It's in the east end of the city.
So does it have an address?
Well, you know what?
Is it is a place?
Well, it is a place, but I'm asking people to go through Artery because of the community.
Tickets? There's tickets.
It's a community that they're trying to build, and I totally understand that they're trying to build this community.
Right, of course.
So the way it works typically is that you would respond through Artery, get your tickets there. The tickets are $20 for the tickets.
Right.
And then you will get an email, like it's in east end of the city. It's at Danforth and Woodbine, so you know where it's located, more or less. But you will get an email that'll give you the exact
through
address.
Artery,
And there's never a ticket exchange. It's just a password, basically, that they'll say at the door to get into the.
Knock 3 times.
It is.
It's kind of
cool.
You and I were sent by Joe.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. I'm trying to think of some dairy-related password for the night, so to have some fun.
Utterly wonderful.
Yes, I know. Or cream rises to the top, or something.
Exactly. Well, so then okay. So it's through Artery.
Yeah.
And
so it's Artery. Dot is.
Artery.is, and you type live in the search engine and it will come up.
It should come up as showcases. Live at with the at sign. Yeah.
Great, so people can look at all the different things that Artery offers there as well. So it should be incredible.
It's great, and it also enables people to check out some culture.
Yeah.
And it's affordable. It's not like $200 to go to something. It's like, I kind of want to try this out. And you can go check it out. And it's really a community, which is really what I'm trying to do with hosting these shows, is as a curator.
Right.
Which I am. I'm a curator for this. I want to create that community of people that go, oh, that was great, because we did a show in March for the Acoustic Guitar Project.
I was going to mention, target curators. You are a busy curator.
Busy.
You are a busy lady.
But we did that show, and people loved it. It was just like, wow, just let us know when there's more of this. And it's that community of people, like, oh yeah, I saw you here last time. I went to a rooftop Artery show the other night, and I had somebody walk up to me and say, hey, Rosanne Baker Thornley, because he knew I was going to be at the show, and it was just, it's great. So
it's a great place to connect. Now, you were the winner Indie International Songwriting Competition for a song called Anyway.
With Michaelan.
With Michaelan.
Who's performing as well on Thursday.
Yes. I'm going to play that after we come back from break. So we got a couple of minutes to set that song up as well. Anyway. Beautiful lyrics.
Michaelan, I met, actually, small world, and it's funny that they're both doing
and she's
this
from
first
Guelph.
show. She is.
Yeah.
I met her through the same songwriting challenge that I actually met North through.
Okay.
And she was 13, I think, at the time.
Oh my goodness.
And she's very impressive for somebody who's so young then. She's now 16. But we finally had an opportunity to get together with her because she reached out to me and North at that point in time.
Right.
Said, love what you're doing. If you ever need a singer or you're interested, I would love to get together with you two. And we finally found an opportunity, and we sat down with her, and and like we work with a lot of artists, we sit down and we talk. It's all about conversation.
Sure, finding out.
And just finding out about the person, what's going on in their lives, so that becomes their song. So when they're singing that song live or they're recording it, it's their song. They embody that song. So anyway, we sat down with Michaelan, and what was really on her mind was the whole cyberbullying.
Wow, and that's certainly within her generation.
So we listened to what she had to say, and it was written on piano. North plays piano as well, and Michaelan plays piano. And we started talking a little bit about what that would mean in the song.
Right.
And we came up with Anyway, and we wrote it with her. We produced it. We also produce our artists. So we worked with our producer and created Anyway, and it won a number of things, and one is the international international songwriting competition.
Right.
Yeah, that's right.
That's so beautiful. So we're going to go to break.
Okay,
we must do that, and we'll be back with Michaelan singing Anyway. Okay, written by Rosanne Baker Thornley and North Easton.
And Michaelan.
That's right. Wow, great collaboration. Yes. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. We want to hear more of that, so we'll be back right after this with Anyway.
You are listening to Radio Voces Latinas, 1610 AM. A drink of water.
Give me a second of silence, a moment to take in the hurt. Leave me alone with your sticks and your stones, 'cause nothing can hit you like somebody's words. Nothing can hit you like words. Everything you say, I don't wanna hear it. Everything you say, I don't really feel it. I don't wanna waste another day, another second anyway. Tell me where you got the dagger, the one that you left in my bag. It's not the truth, but does that really matter? All of the damage that you can erase when you can't see the look on my face. Everything you say, I don't wanna hear it. Everything you say, everything you say, don't wanna hear it. Everything you say, don't really feel it. I don't wanna waste another day, another second anyway. No, everything you say, don't wanna hear it. Everything you say, day. call you out. No, you won't back down.
And that's Anyway by the beautiful Michaelin, and what a beautiful, beautiful voice she has, and such incredible maturity, and geez, gorgeous. So she's 16 now. How old was she when she recorded that?
That, I think she would have been 14.
Unreal.
14. And I mean, I don't know how many times I've written, she's so beyond her years in her maturity and her demeanor. I mean, it's just true. And we still are writing with Michaelin, and she's a pleasure to work with. She's true professional.
And I'm looking at the website right now. That's Michaelin.ca. That's MIKALYN.ca. And definitely go there. There's more music you can listen to, and find out more about her as well. Super young lady, wonderful. I love those stories because, it's so, and it's really hard for artists to get ahead. Recording costs a fortune. And artists need to get paid. We talked about that a little bit earlier. And, and of course you said through Artery, people are having that opportunity, whether they're singers, dancers, actors, all the artists, arts and culture, and something that Canada has a plentitude of. We have so much, and yet promoting that has always been a problem here in Canada. Well, it's unbelievable, as it may seem, and to have individuals like yourself who are right there, and with, I'm sorry, you mentioned her name again for Artery. It's Salima.
Yeah.
Salima, yes.
Yeah.
To have people who care that much. We have to care.
Great.
We can't just say, well, that's the way it is.
Well, it's like you're driven by passion. And that's the interesting thing is, I think, in the music business is you have to invest in you have to invest in yourself.
You do.
I get. It's like anything. It's like anything. There's an investment of, you can do things any way you want, but if you produce something well and you've got a good foundation to grow on.
Right.
But the challenging thing I find in music is that sometimes you make the investment and make the investment and make the investment, and I'm not sure how you see it back sometimes.
Well, it's just like throwing things down a bottomless hole. You keep and you don't have the support systems. It's like, because everybody's doing their own thing. Everybody's trying to get ahead. Everybody's trying to get those spots in the bars and venues. And I find also, I don't know if you notice this, Rosanne, that there seems to be a cycle, a circuit, that people get sort of stuck in this circuit of bars and venues that they're always playing at, and they're not getting paid, and they're not going ahead. They're just sort of there for years, just cycling, and it's.
But I think there's a comfort in that sometimes.
Of course there is. Of course there is.
Some people, they it's like, I always say that probably the person...
Like, I wasn't judging it. I'm just saying it just seems to be a...
I know. I know. But I often think that the person that has the most amazing voice in the world, all she's doing is singing her child to sleep every night.
Yeah.
Because she's good with that.
Sure.
So it's a whole other, like, I write music. Why I can't just write it in my basement and be good with that? It's like you're driven. You're driven to do something with... And that's where the challenge comes in at times, because you've got to find the right path.
So you're saying those people are doing it, they're really in a comfort zone?
Sometimes.
But also I know a lot of wonderful artists who I think, wow, like if they could if you could pull them up and out of that. And I'm hoping what you're doing can help people to do, just give them that.
Well, it brings awareness. I think people don't.
Uplift.
Yeah. I just.
People can't see me doing that on radio. Can you see me lifting my hands up, know?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard.
It is. And it's not something you choose. I mean, I find true artists, they don't. No. Like when I started writing for myself, it wasn't that I chose to be. I started writing when I was 8, so I didn't choose it. It was like, this is just who I am. Yeah. It wasn't a question of what do I want to be. It was just, that's who I am.
Exactly.
So it's interesting.
It is interesting. So you mentioned earlier something about the acoustic guitar project. Very interesting. It started out of New York City, you said, and you're the curator for Tirana.
I know. I always feel like a light should shine on me. It's like the curator.
The
I feel like
curator. What do you cure?
Yeah.
Is this a cure for something?
It's an interesting project that Dave Adams out of New York started, and he doesn't play really, and he doesn't really write, but he had a great appreciation for songwriting.
Right.
And basically, in summary, what he's got now is he's in 50 cities around the world.
Cool.
And the project is that each city has a curator, right?
Yep.
And the curator picks 5 artists for each year to write, and they have a guitar in this city as well. So they have their guitar. Right. And one artist gets the guitar, writes a song.
Yeah.
You have a week to do it, 1 week.
One whole week.
Guitar, and you record the song on a Zoom or basically your phone, because it can be no production. It's all about it's about the strength of the song. That's all
standing on its own.
Standing on its own.
Cool.
So you record the song, you do a little video and says, "Hi, I'm Rosanne. I did it, last year. Hi, I'm Rosanne, and here's my song, and here's why I wrote it." And then you hand it off to the next artist, and it goes through 5 artists. Then at the end of that, there's a show. So the first year, when I was the curator. Now the way I became the curator was a friend of mine had been part of it in Calgary. Scott McKay, who I work with as well.
Right.
And I listened to a song and I thought, oh, that's cool. And I went to the site and I just listened. And that was sort of it. Then North was the curator for Ottawa. So then I listened to his song and I was paying a bit more attention this time. And I was going, well, that's odd. There's Ottawa, there's Vancouver, there's Barcelona, but there's no Toronto.
Oh, yeah.
And I sent an email to Dave Adams and I said, I love what you're doing. But I noticed that Toronto doesn't have a presence, and that's kind of odd because I would think that Toronto's a pretty substantial music city.
Sure is, yeah.
So he got back to me and said, Toronto is amazing. Toronto is amazing. I just haven't had a chance to find a curator there yet. And he said, but I did check you out, and I was wondering if you would be interested in being a curator as well as a writer for the first year. So I did.
Nice.
I did. So my first year I had myself, I had Keith Mackay, who's from the days of Kensington Market Band. Yeah. And Blair Packham. Blair Packham was part of it.
Oh, yeah.
Julian Taylor and Susie Vinnick. So we all passed the guitar, and I got to say...
Excellent people, by the way.
And so then we had a show, and we did the show at the Gallery 345.
Okay.
Just in the West End. Mm-hmm. So we did the show there because I didn't want to do it in a bar.
No.
I didn't want to do it in a bar because I wanted people to listen. I wanted a listening room environment where people are there for that purpose.
Right.
Because I'm kind of past the bar scene of people talking over artists that are playing, and that's sort of the dignity and appreciation thing for me.
Yes, I agree.
So we did the show, and it was great. And then this year, did the show again. I curated again. This year I couldn't play, so I had Fergus Hamilton.
Oh. Fergus.
Lyric Doobie, who I also write with, and Angela Saini, who I also do some writing with, and North as well, and Ken Yates, and Arlene Bishop.
Oh, Arlene Bishop.
Who is amazing.
She is. She is very soulful and deep. And
so it was great. And I passed the guitar around to everybody, and I often have fun with it, because when I'm bringing the guitar to everybody, because I do photography, I love finding the right setting for them and saying, hey, let's do a few shots. So this year when we did the show, I talked to my husband Michael again, and we said, we've got the warehouse this year. Why don't we just host it here? Perfect. So that's what we did in March. And then returning from last year, I played, Keith Mackay played, and Julian Taylor played. And it was great. It was 8 people playing. It was an amazing night of song. It was great.
We're going to have some more amazing song, because before we go to break, we're going to play My Way Home, and that's Northeastern singing.
That's right.
And it's a collaboration between you and North. And so My Way Home, and we can talk about it. We'll talk about it after the break.
Okay, great.
Okay, we're going to go out with this because that's beautiful. Love his energy. Yeah, it's good.
Great energy.
Great energy. Here he is. Northeastern, My Way Home.
I know is changing to more than I can hold. Ain't it funny that I can't find my way home? Behind, and all the storms turned over in my life, in my life. I can fight, and lately everything is crazy, and all I know is changing to more than I can hold. Ain't it funny that I can't find my way home? There's more for me to hold. When I find my way home.
That was Northeastern and My Way Home. And we'll be back with more of Rosanne Baker Thornley talking about the music and here on A Drink of Water, CHHA 1610 AM. It's 8:45. We're going to break right now. We'll be back right after this.
More far away, more homes, more voices. Radio Voces Latinas. As Latin as you. As Latin as you. As Latin as you.
CHHA.
You are listening to Radio Voces Latinas, 1610 AM. A drink of water.
Yeah, you're listening to Drink of Water, and we got some great, we listened to some great music with Rosanne. You're here in studio, and I'm just reading something that Spotlight Ottawa said about Northeastern, and they said, I can't say I recall taking in a performance quite like this before, where the stories were as important as, maybe even more important than the music itself. And North has a gift for telling tales. So I can see, because you also have that gift, why you're such great collaborators. You just telling these great stories. Yeah.
It's interesting. And I've got to say, sitting there listening to that song again, that we've spent probably hundreds of hours together, working together. And I mean, he works on his own as well in Ottawa and works with people, and I work on my own. And I'm really grateful for all the people I work with. There's no doubt. I work with some stellar people.
Yeah.
Michaelan, for example.
Yeah, and we're going to hear her going out. Yeah.
But I've got to say that whenever I listen to that song, he has so much emotion. And he so truly feels what he's singing. And I just never tire of it. I mean, it's pretty incredible.
And people are going to be able to listen to this kind of performance with Northeastern and Michaelan and yourself at the Dairy
Yep.
this Thursday at 8 o'clock,
Yep.
and go through artery.is
That's right.
and go
That's right.
the search engine live.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Type in live, and you're going to find that whole showcase coming up, and you
Yeah.
go, wow, what's
Live at the Dairy.
I had no idea. Yeah, this is good. They don't have to go to Dundas Square
No.
to say, so what's on tonight? They can go there and find out what's on
Yeah.
and what's amazing too.
Yeah.
All these great artists. But yeah, so
And that's my plan moving forward.
Yeah.
Is that it's North and Michaela in this, which is great, and it's great because it was sort of I had stepped out of the music business for a while because my daughter was born.
okay,
And
that'll take you away.
I remember saying to my manager, "Don't worry, I got this. I'm pregnant, but my album was just coming.
My
out."
life will not
That-
change.
thought-
I will
and you
still
know
be
what?
right.
I did have it, but
Mommy brain.
But what I didn't expect to happen,
No.
which completely is how I'm driven.
Yeah.
My passion changed. And all of a sudden, I didn't want to be on the road. And I didn't want to be promoting an album. I really just wanted to spend a little time with this young girl and my husband. So that's when everything sort of... and I stepped out of it for a while.
Yeah.
But when I stepped back in, the beginning of when I stepped back in was this challenge. I was like, 6 songs in 6 weeks? I got that.
Yeah.
So I stepped back in, and so that's what I'm saying. It's interesting that was a first. That was a first back in again. Saying, because I'd always been asked if I'd write for people, and I never took up the opportunity. I was like, I write for me, I don't write for anybody else.
But isn't it
but
wonderful?
It's great. It's amazing.
Yeah.
And I had a model out of LA that I thought was interesting, a business model that I thought was very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So I invited North to do some writing with me after we'd written that particular song. And we wrote a few more after that, and then I said, "Come to Toronto. If we're good over Skype, let's try doing some writing in the room with some artists." And I started telling producers I was back again. But so my point is that Michaela and North were a bit of a beginning in there again.
Yeah.
There's I could go on for hours, but anyway,
that's okay. We have an hour. That's
Okay.
pretty good. But this is going to be amazing on
so
Thursday.
that's why it's nice that this is the first sort of inaugural live at the Dairy show
Right.
that is an emerging artist and an established artist, right?
Yeah,
it's like there's
yeah.
definitely a difference.
Which
in
is
years.
what we talked about in the
Yeah.
beginning of the program.
Which
So we're
is-
coming full circle now. It's great.
But the next is I have so many great friends in the music business who are so talented. It's like
I know.
I'm so, as I said, grateful, and I will be doing more. So I'm hoping that as people experience it, they go, "Oh, this is great! Like this is the undercurrent to a mainstream of music that's out there. That just is wonderful. It's wonderful. It's there, but it's also good to have this.
It is so important, and we need more than the main. We've got all the mainstream ways of finding entertainment, but we gotta go down to the grassroots,
Deeper.
and find deep, go really deep, and find people. And I was sharing with you just before the program how we've also put together a recording studio.
Yeah, that's
so we can
great.
help, artists who are emerging.
Yeah.
And there's so much talent. We recognize that here at CHHA 1610 AM too, because that's what we play. We have at least, more than 75% of our artists are emerging artists.
great.
So definitely,
great.
Bring them on, Hispanic, Puerto Rican.
Yeah.
We were looking for some Puerto Rican music, actually.
great.
Artists here in Canada, that we really want to do.
Yeah.
But listen, this is we're going to be playing Now That It's Over.
Okay.
And look at that, this program.
great.
What a great way to end. It
Yeah.
wasn't I was going to play anyway at the end, but then I have to play
Now
that
That
one
It's Over.
first.
Yeah.
So Now That It's Over, if you can set that up, and then we can play it.
Well, this is interesting. This is a little bit of how life.
We don't have too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe a couple minutes.
It's interesting that this is another song we wrote with Michaela, and it was talking about relationships and the just a different bit of a conversation on a relationship ending.
Right.
And so again, North and Michaela and I wrote this and
Wow.
went in the studio. And in this particular instance, we had a new producer working with us,
Yeah.
and who actually is my son-in-law.
Really?
So it's funny
Wonderful.
How life comes along.
Life threw a son-in-law with chops.
You just new son-in-law for 2 months now. So anyway,
tough.
so this is a song we recorded with Michaelan here at Kensington Market, Kensington Sound.
Right.
And it's a song produced by Will Scholar. He's living in the UK right now.
Okay.
And on his way back, moving here he's moving here with my daughter in a few weeks.
Excellent.
Which is great.
Ah.
And this is a song.
This is a song.
Yeah,
now that it's over, Michaelan, and enjoy as we take this almost out.
We had love like a photograph, and you told me that it would last, and you said that the best hasn't happened yet. That was the plan. Every smile that you promised me, every night that we fell asleep, every breath, every laugh that we both had, when you said that you can't get enough of me. All these moments that I never noticed were right there in front of me, when you told me you'd never leave. Was gone, and our hands, they kept holding on, and in the dark just another long heart to heart. Oh, nothing could ever go wrong. Yeah, never go bad. Yeah, never be gone, 'cause that's what we had. Told me to believe. That means nothing now. Now that it's over, now that it's over, that means nothing now. Now that it's over. Now that it's over.
And I want to thank Rosanne Baker Thornley for coming on A Drink of Water. And you can go to her website, rbtsong.com. rbtsong.com. And thank you very much, Rosanne, for coming on A Drink of Water. Wonderful having you. And we're out.
In your car, at home, at work, or wherever you're tuning from, CHHA 1610 AM, Radio Voces Latinas.